First question is going to go to Crinston Murray. Tell us about a time when you were able to successfully deal with another person, even when that individual may not have personally liked you or vice versa.
A time where I was able to work basically with people that I don't get along with. I feel like my experience from being on the e-board this year, definitely, it's not that we did not like each other, it's just that certain views on different subjects, whether it be events or things that we wanted to do for the students, or just little disputes that normal brothers and sisters have when you have them together for a long time, is basically what we had. Every time they happen, we try to resolve them. And it's just basically whenever it is a situation, you just have to attack it head on instead of letting it linger on. That's it.
All right. Before we move on, I want to make sure that everyone silences their cell phones so there's no interruption, and So thank you for that. All right, Spencer, any question?
Okay. Well, on the subject of that same question about me having to deal with a person, which I never really thought that I would ever, really get through with successfully. Well, I mean, I've only been in SGA for 2 semesters already, but before I came to SGA, I spent 4 years doing a lot of community service with the Civil Air Patrol, and I was able to work my way up the ranks to be the first sergeant. And of course, when you're first sergeant, you're in charge of a great number of people. And by the time I had finally become first sergeant, all the good cadets had already graduated and gone off to college. I was with, well, we called them recruits. And honestly, because I was the first sergeant and, I had just gotten promoted, I really didn't think that I would be able to work with all the new recruits. But what I did was I kept at it. I made sure that my voice was heard. And, I made sure that I motivated them. And, one thing led to another. And honestly, I'd say I did pretty good being first sergeant.
Alexa?
Recently this year when we had our SGA Lights Camera Hollywood dance, there was a lot of disputes between what should be the main focus of it. We had disputes with the name, the place we were having, so many different things, and the only thing that I could keep saying was the repetition, keeping up with everything, making sure your ambition is there, and definitely just keeping up with people and how they're reacting to certain things, because sometimes your interest may not be the best interest of everyone else's. So the easiest way I dealt with that was just constantly asking questions, never letting things linger on, because the second you let that linger, then everything kind of slows down and it's not at the pace you need it to be. So definitely the ambition and the persistence.
Right. Next question, we're going to start it with Spencer. Tell us about a time when you were forced to make an unpopular decision.
Well, I'm really trying to think about that because, well, honestly, not one comes to mind right now, honestly.
Okay. Crinston?
A time where I had to come up with an unpopular decision. It was probably not really an unpopular decision, it's just a decision that some people won't agree with, but a majority of people do. I feel like me just running for president, a lot of people took that and they don't really see what goes on behind the scenes with the e-board this year and the things that I actually do. And they think just because they see me a lot of time outside of the office or around school, they see me as a person that's just really friendly and it just looks like I played all day when it's really not like that. So a lot of people may think that me running for president might not be a good decision. But if you take a look at my track record and if you actually come and talk to me, I actually have a lot of things to say. So I think that is definitely a decision.
Alexa?
In the last presidential debate that we had last week, Monday, there was a question asked us saying, what's your definition of ethics? And the way I answered was that there's not one definition, it's everyone's personal feeling about what ethics is. But my main answer was, it's basically what a group of people can do to one person, and it could be okay naturally. So a decision that I had to make that was against the grain was when I was making a decision to, in my sense, be morally correct and say something that needed to be heard against a policy that had happened against SGA. And the unpopular decision was definitely something that I got persecuted for and later was looked at badly. But in all due respect, that's a law and that's the rule and that's what I went by. It's uncompromising for me, so.
All right. My last question goes to Alexa. What's your leadership style?
Definitely head on. I'm not very standoffish. I do like to observe people in their way that they do things, but certain things for me, I'm definitely head on. I'm persistent. I might get annoying at times, but that's the only way things get done. Certain things, due to the fact that I am the activities chair, you have to be persistent. You have to keep going. If an event doesn't happen, then you have to keep on trying to make a new one. There's so many ideas that people have running around in their heads. Just let their voice be heard. So, yeah.
All right, Spencer.
Well, the way that I've always viewed my own leadership style is, well, you see, the way that I do things is I always think about what's in other people's best interest instead of my own. I mean, to me, it doesn't really make any sense as to why a leader should have to make these objectives and these own personal missions that only benefit the one when, you know, I mean, especially in a democratic system, you know, people elect their leaders, you know, because they expect their leaders to put them before himself or herself, so for me, it's always been that, you know, it's always the needs of the many first. The needs of the many come first, always.
The way I lead is pretty simple. I feel like a leader is just the head and the face. I feel like whatever I put it towards my presidency, if I do win, whoever's on my e-board, I expect them, because we're all in college, I expect them to have a work ethic. I expect them to be doing things even when I don't have to tell them to do anything. Because my job as a leader is not to be behind you all the time and make you do stuff, because when you try to make people do stuff, they don't want to do it. My job as a leader is just to guide you and make sure that we complete the vision that we all came together to do. That's my job as a leader.
Those were my 3 questions. We're going to have Senator questions. All right, this goes to Spencer first. SGA is known as the voice, and our members are supposed to lead by example. As president, would you make good grades in your classes to show the importance of academics?
Absolutely, because this is Palm Beach State College. We are among the best in South Florida. In fact, we are among the best throughout the nation, I'm told. So I think that it's very important that all students have to be motivated in order to go pretty much beyond their limits here. I mean, you know, sure, you know, you start here, you may, you want to worry more about, you know, what sort of universities or what sort of grad schools you want to go to after this. You want Palm Beach State College to leave a good mark on your resume, and I think that that is very, very important, you know, because it's really going to matter a lot 20 or 30 years down the road.
All right, Alexa?
Definitely with academics is a big thing for me. First of all, you're a student leader, so you're not necessarily doing everything for everyone first. You have to make sure yourself is in check. I know this semester I've been taking 5 classes, and it is strenuous, along with doing leadership summits outside of school. So definitely knowing your limits, and next year being involved with SGA, I know that I can't be taking on a workload so high. So academics is something that you need to know your limits, and you also need to know your capabilities.
As everybody said, academics is always important. We're all in college, and we all want to excel in college. I cannot, and I will not try to be a leader if I have a below grade point average, because there's no possible way I can tell you to do something that I have not done, and just plain and simple. If I expect something from you, you have to expect the same from me, since I'm a leader. So.
All right, Alexa, what have you done to let us have the student body know that you're more of the be about it and not just speak about it?
Say that one more time.
All right. What have you done to let us know that you're more of the be about it than just speak about it type person?
Well, definitely leadership, I take something really seriously. I don't really take heed to certain people who lead because sometimes they forget who's following them. So during leadership, I'm a leader outside of the church. I help out with homeless ministries, with Hope Ministries, which is also a ministry that cares and caters to the homeless and their needs and all that. And being a leader is definitely setting an example. You're setting the bar for everyone else to stare at you and look at you and observe you, and sometimes they will judge you. So being a leader, it's not only watching what you do and what you say, but watching what you're doing for others. Because sometimes out of self-interest, you can do things that will downfall and downplay. So being someone who's not only talking about it, but actually acting on it is definitely, again, with the persistence. You have to know what you want, know what the school needs, and know what, as an e-board collectively, as Palm Beach State Lake Board needs.
I want to ask you to repeat the question so I can make sure that.
What have you done to let us know that you're more of the be about it and not just speak about it person?
That's the way I work. I don't really like to tell you what I'm gonna do because a lot of people can speak well and then they don't act. Like I told you earlier, you can check my track record. I like to see work done. I have a good work ethic, and not all the time people get to see your work ethic. But what I have tried to do through campaigning is I've tried to go out and actually talk to students around the school and see what SGA can do for them, what do they feel about the school, and what do they think can be changed about the school. So I feel like just by doing that, I don't do it for people to see me do it. I just do it because that's just what I believe in. So.
Well, I guess most people here probably know what I've done for SGA. You know, I've done a lot of the commercials. In a way, I guess I've been the voice of SGA to some degree. But you know, some people look at me and they think to themselves, you know, he's got such a great voice. You know, he's really enthusiastic about serving SGA. And the fact is that that's actually true because I like to find a place where I know I can make a difference, and I'm 100% sure that I can make a difference here in SGA because whatever I set my mind to, it's not just a mindset, it's not just a goal. To me, it's more like a mission.
Next question. All right, Crinston, dressing the part sometimes is as important, if not more important, than the position you might hold. How important do you think dressing the part is, and do you feel you are dressed for the part?
All right, here's my answer to that. Right now we're at a debate, and people expect me to be all dressed up because I'm running for president. There's a time and a place where you dress up. When we're going on conferences, you dress up, you look presentable. When you're meeting the heads of the school, you dress up, you become presentable. But I'm just a student, just like every single one of y'all. I don't all the time, just because I'm in a leadership position, that does not mean that I have to be dressed up in a suit every day. I'm a student. I'm just like y'all. I want to be approachable. A lot of times people can see you dressed up and they won't come up to you because they think, it may not be that way, but they might think that you're better than them just because of the way you're dressed, and they might not want to approach you because they're intimidated by the way you're dressed. So the reason why I'm dressed like this today is just to let everybody know I'm a student just like y'all. I work hard in school just like y'all. I'm involved just like y'all. I'm just like y'all, basically. So.
Well, going back to what Crinston said, yes, I think that it's very important that me myself, I need to feel as though that I am dressed to do this because I mean, like Crinston said, you know, depending on what sort of occasions that you're dressing up for, that is very important. But I mean, you know, Crinston said that he's dressed this way because he wants to show that, that this is him, he's a student. Well, I would say that the same pretty much goes for me. I'm dressed like this, honestly, because, I want to portray the image that, I feel comfortable in my own skin. And I think that's what every student here on Palm Beach State College should do, is that every individual here needs to feel as though that they are comfortable in their own skin, because once you are comfortable in your own skin, then that's where you find the courage to speak up for what you believe is right.
Going off of what Spencer just said, that's definitely true, being comfortable in who you are, but I also think that you should always be presentable to people. Being an SGA, there's a lot of things that come up randomly, like there was a commercial for Dr. Gallon, and they said we need 7 or 8 people. Well, 7 or 8 people they chose were the people who they know and the school wide, who's always presentable, who always looks ready and set for the occasion. So definitely being presentable. Yes, I definitely agree that there's a place and a time, but there's always a reason and a stature that you have to hold up for yourself as being a leader.
Spencer? Which part of the article, section 2 of our Constitution, do you believe is more important? Purple.
Well, honestly, I haven't read that article yet.
Alexa?
Definitely the part where it says being a guide to your e-board and to SGA. Definitely, you're also, as the president, you're there to not only pull your e-board along with you, but to also represent your face throughout college. So definitely being that guide and being someone who you can always talk, being approachable again, being someone who someone can come up to you with a question and say, hey, I feel like this is a problem in SGA, I want this to be fixed. So being that guide, you have to be assertive and say, well, look, SGA is working on this, we'll help you through this. And even the problem with the ETA in the cafe last semester, like, it was a problem, SGA started it, we got the petition, and now there's a cafeteria in it, and I think it's definitely a way that you always have to run.
The way I feel about that is the same answer that I had Monday. I feel the selection of the e-board is the most important part. Me being the president, if I get elected, I'm just the face that you'll see. Like I said, the people working behind the president are the people that make SGA so important. And I think the e-board is a great and a large part of that, because the e-board are the people like the secretary, the vice president, the treasurer, the sergeant, social media executive. Those are all the people that's going to take the load off of the president. So I feel the selection of the e-board is the most important part under the presidential duties.
Alexa, as president, how would you handle going up to a group of students by yourself and convincing them to come to an SGA event?
I'm a really approachable person, I think. So walking up, campaigning throughout this week, you've walked up to groups of the career colleges, cosmetology, firefighters, policemen. You're asking them, like, what do you think SGA means to you? What would you like SGA to do for you next year, kind of thing. So definitely when you're talking to them, just like affirming yourself and knowing where to go. Certainly when there's
As president, how would you handle going to a group of students by yourself?
Well, going up to them, you have to have an open mind, because sometimes someone can tell you something that's straight off the bat not true. So someone can hate SGA, someone can love SGA. You just have to keep an open mind, and definitely when you're talking to them, you're advocating positive things. You're not advocating the hardships through SGA, if there are any in your case.
Over the year, being on the e-board, I've grown to love going up and talking to people that I don't know. Our first open house for student government last semester, a lot of that was a lot of hard work. It was a lot of the people that are in here right now are people that I've never even seen before that day. Also campaigning this week, I've gone up to groups of just like different cultures of people. Like yesterday, I was sitting with these girls and we started a conversation because they were eating griot, and everything was sparked off from there. I was talking to a group of people in front of the library, and they were just giving me different feedback, and I feel like that's great, because in order to be a great president, you have to have interaction with the people. You got to know what the people want, serve the people. So.
Well, for me, it's never really been much of a problem for me going up and talking to a group of people that I don't know. But I mean, you know, if I was talking to a group of people I didn't know and I was trying to convince them to join SGA, of course I would always have to, you know, I mean, you know, one thing that most people can obviously see about me is that I'm a very convincing person. You know, I can convince anyone to do almost anything. You know, if I wanted someone to join SGA, you know, I would tell them, you know, all the great things that SGA has done, all the student activities, all the fundraisers that we do, the awesome people that you get to meet as well. You know, all that is very convincing evidence for any newcomers to come in and join SGA and try and make a difference.
All right. This question goes to Crinston. Many students get upset because even though they qualify, they didn't know an honors college exists in PBSC. What role do you think SGA has in promoting this little-known opportunity to Palm Beach State College students?
We have a big role in that because with student government, we not only throw events and we not only fight for issues, we're also supposed to be here for the students. I honestly don't know how the process works with getting accepted into the Honors College or how they let people know about the Honors College, but I feel like now that it's been presented through a question, that it will be part of my platform to keep in communication with the Honors College to let us know, just like how we found out, just like how SGA finds out about internships, to let us know when there are available slots for the Honors College. So.
Well, for me, I really think that, you know, SGA can really do a whole lot. I mean, like what Crinston here was saying. You know, if SGA can really, you know, strive to actually make it their goal to make sure that the Honors College is promoted at the way it is. But honestly, I really think that the one reason why most new students have trouble actually finding out that Palm Beach State College really has an honors college, I think in many ways it goes back to the Palm Beach State website, which I've heard from a lot of new students is very hard to navigate. So I would make it part of my platform to advocate to make the Palm Beach State website much more easier for new students to figure out. Because even some old friends of mine that are still in high school are graduating. They're going to be graduating this May, and they've looked into Palm Beach State College, and they still ask me questions. They still ask me what sort of classes do they offer, and you know, and to me it's just, you know, impossible as to why they can't figure it out on the website.
Listen.
I know definitely for the Honors College is something that I tried to get into myself, but I couldn't because I didn't have any credit hours here at the school yet, so next year is something that I'm applying for. And I know for the Honors College, something that SGA can promote for them is the job fair, volunteer fair, getting your face out there, getting your education base known. If people don't think that you have an education, then you have to tell them a reason that you do. So definitely thinking that, I know the Honors College, you have to have a 3.5 GPA and 6 credit hours. So getting involved in the Honors College is not only something that you can promote for yourself, but also for the state well-being of the college. I know leadership and encouragement is a big thing. It's a part of SGA that allows you to just go on and go forth and show how you're doing everything.
Spencer, what are 3 characteristics that we as SGA need to become more efficient and united?
3 characteristics. In order for SGA to become more united, I suppose that the 3 primary characteristics that make SGA what it is right now is, of course, its leadership, its involvement in college and community activities, and its perseverance. I mean, because, you know, we also have these events where we do the rally and tally, where we all calibrate our issues, and then we persevere from the local level to the city, to the county, and sometimes even to the state level. So really those 3 qualities right there are pretty much, you know, the foundation of what makes SGA the powerhouse that it really is.
Alexa?
Something that can make SGA better is definitely being enabling our leaders. Student leaders here have come in and walked out and they don't even know what they're missing. You've missed countless amounts of trips with educational speakers that have not only gone through the state level, but they're also at political level now, and they're telling you what they've gone through and just they're trying to better you and empower you into knowing your potential. So that's one thing that you can definitely do. Another thing is definitely like being united on what SGA is. Some people have this idea that SGA is just a free bank where you can do the events and then that's good, like you get your scholarship at the end. You're missing out on the big point of SGA. It's also community involvement and education, as well as being the leader, and not only being someone that everyone can look at and say, wow, you know, they're involved in SGA, I want to be like that, but being someone who shows potential.
I believe that everything everybody said contributes to being a great person for your board, along with being the person that's ambitious and knowing that you want to do when you get into office. Another thing that I believe is people that know how to communicate with other people, because as you know, if you've been involved this year, it's a separation between all the campuses, Boca, Palm Beach Gardens, Lake Worth, and Belle Glade, and we don't really communicate with each other. And if we were able to communicate with each other more, we could be more of a prosperous college. Also, another quality I feel like a person should have is just being a leader and being able to put themselves out there and not be scared. Just be fearless, basically.
Alexa, is there anything in particular about SGA you would like to see change?
In particular, the fact that some of us don't even know some of the stuff that's going around in our college. I learned the other day that talking with some of our nursing students that the credits that they're getting here are sometimes not transferable to the universities that they want to go to. So definitely educating students not only on events that are happening or community involvements, but educating them on our school. Because sometimes the students like to go outside and transfer when really the whole bachelor's degree program is there for you. There's no need to transfer outside to go to a state level. And
something that I'm really an advocate for is definitely Panther Pride. I feel like if we had more of a sense of culture within SGA and we can bring that out into the school, that increases the participation with other campuses, that increases participation from students that you don't normally see inside of SEC 154 or you don't normally see inside of other clubs meetings. Because when I was talking to people yesterday and the day before yesterday, a lot of what goes on is that they really don't know what we're doing. Part of that is not just because of the way that we go about marketing things, it's just because we don't put ourselves out there to make school more interesting for them. We just feel like the way that we do things is the way that we should do things, and it's not right and it's not fair to the students because they want to get involved and they want to get involved. You just have to go out there and get them.
One thing that I would really like to see SGA here improve on would be cooperation between the other Palm Beach State College campuses. I mean, sure, we do activities with them occasionally, but I think it's very important that SGA becomes a little bit more involved with the other campuses, like at the Belle Glade campus or the Boca campus or any other campus anywhere else, because I think that when SGA becomes more involved with the other campuses, because they're all spread out throughout the county and the community, it shows that we are really devoted to community service. Because in many ways it shows that we cooperate. We don't just work independently. We work together as a team, because not only are we SGA Lake Worth campus, but we're also SGA Palm Beach State College, and that's more important.
All right. Crinston, how do you plan on dealing with conflict within your e-board and or Senate?
Conflicts within my e-board. I've learned a lot how to deal with conflicts within the e-board from this year. One of the main things that you have to understand if you want to be on e-board is that you can't always let what goes on inside of the office come out, because when you let things within the office come out, it gets to the senators, and then you start having little cliques, and then it's a separation between everybody in SGA, because these people have their clique over here, these people have their clique over here, these people have their clique over here. So you definitely don't want that.
Spencer?
Well, for me, when it comes to dealing with conflict anywhere, whether it be inside e-board or whether it's anywhere else, even inside the workplace, one thing that I've learned through my experience is when you're dealing with conflict, don't ever take a side, because you start siding with one person when you see, I mean, when you hear one person's side of the story, you hear the other person's side of the story, then then it takes away some trust between you and some of your other coworkers, and that's just something that I couldn't deal with as a leader if people didn't trust me. So if I had to deal with conflict, I would try to see the much bigger picture instead of taking sides.
I'm definitely agreeing with what Spencer just said. Being neutral in certain situations is okay, but I also believe that there's certain situations that we have to take sides on. Certain situations where something morally incorrect or ethically incorrect goes on in between SGA. Then there's a point where it becomes, I'm not trying to be cool with everyone, but I'm trying to be morally put in what my position is as an e-board member, or would be an e-board member. A big part of SGA and dealing with conflict is sometimes people, I've seen it happen a lot, sometimes people get scared to address the situation, and they get scared to stare it in the face and say, look, this was wrong. Do you know, as long as you know what the policy is, and as long as you know what happened in between this, and putting it in the face. I know that there's sometimes when you don't want to look at a problem face on, and they say to walk away from it and come back to it. So definitely knowing how you act and react to certain things.
Spencer, how do you plan to maintain a culture of unity and togetherness?
Well, from what based on my own personal philosophy, I think it's important that that at the college and pretty much throughout the entire community that that we stand united, because in many ways, despite all the differences that have been going around, I mean, really, we're all human beings. We're all part of the same species. We all come from the same planet. So, to me, I don't know how you can get more united than that. You can get past all the cultural differences, and then you can finally see the beauty in other people. I mean, that's one of the most beautiful things about individualism, in my own personal philosophy.
A big part of creating that sense of unity is knowing where, creating this sense of family. I know for SGA this year, if I didn't join, I would have been completely regretful in everything that I did, because coming here, you just create a sense of unity with certain people. Certain people agree with you. Certain people take you under their wing and they talk to you and they help you figure out what is and isn't correct for you. And as part of SGA, knowing that there's 2 main clubs that I've only heard about in SGA, and hearing the other day that there's 52 across the campus. I mean, half the clubs we don't even know exist, and we're sitting here representing the whole college. So that's a big part. Another part is definitely creating that sense of family between all the different colleges. There's also a 5th campus that could be and should be coming up soon, and what are we going to do to create that sense of family between our own colleges and welcoming them into that family?
I definitely agree with Alexa. Keeping the bond and just keeping the communication open, not only with just the clubs here, but also the campuses around the school. And not only that, but keeping the communication with administrators and faculty, trying to get more in touch with the alumni. If you look at the hand has 5 fingers. This is like a visual aid. First is the students. Second is faculty and staff. Third, administration. Fourth is alumni. And 5th is basically everything else around the school. And when you put those 5 fingers together, you get a fist. And what this fist stands for is empowerment. And once you start getting that communication with everybody, you become more empowered, and you become more of a prosperous college, and you can fight for things that you never would have imagined before. So definitely keeping the lines of communication open.
Alexa, what past experiences do you believe have prepared you to be a president for Palm Beach State College?
Past experiences. Well, being head of first priority of school at the club at my school prior, I learned a lot of things about leadership and knowing the difference between hypocrisy and heresy. Hypocrisy for me is something like saying something and doing another correct. Heresy is knowing what you're saying is completely wrong and then still teaching it. So learning that has taught me that, you know, you can't really say stuff as a leader. Sometimes people are going to ask you questions you don't know the answer to. And being prepared and saying, look, you know, I don't know the answer to that, but I will get back to you. Keeping that line of trust open between people too is something that's really big in leadership, because if people can't trust you, then they can't follow you or look, they can't even look at you and think good of yourself, good of you. So.
I take my experience back again to being on the executive board for this year. Like I told you before, I've always been a person that's been behind the scenes doing a lot of things. I've always wanted to come out and become more of a leader, but I felt like with my position being sergeant at arms, I felt like I was always down at the bottom of the chain at the SGA. But at some points, I took it upon myself because like I told you, I'm very ambitious. I like to succeed. I want my e-board to succeed. So I came out and I tried to do what I could to make events happen and make them better. So I feel like I've learned a lot about myself this year on the e-board. I've learned some good qualities I've learned some bad qualities I have, and things I need to fix. So I feel like that molded me to become a leader and want me to step out and become president.
Well, my past leadership experience, of course, would have to go back to when I was in Civil Air Patrol. I was able to make it to the rank of first sergeant, which is like the commanding officer's right-hand man in many ways. And if there's one thing that I've learned about leadership while I was first sergeant, is that, you know, when it comes to being a leader, not only do you have to live by your own example, not only do you have to represent the many people who follow you, but you also need to. I mean, it's much more than just leading people on to doing a task or accomplishing a goal. You know, it's not always just about representation. You know, it's more about being the one that people look up to. You know, people have to trust you. People, in many ways, have to bond with you at some sort of emotional level, because it's very, very important.
That's time.
Okay.
Crinston. As president, what will be a top priority for the student body?
Top priority for the student body, I have two, but the main one I want to talk about is a sense of culture. You come to Palm Beach State, most people come to Palm Beach State, even myself came to Palm Beach State with it being a second or third choice. So when I came here, I was like, oh, I'm at Palm Beach State, I don't really want to be here, nothing's going on. But I feel like if we just create a sense of culture and a sense of tradition and make people actually want to be here, you'll get more student leaders that want to get involved, and people that just want to come to different events for the clubs and not just coming for the food, coming because they want to be involved. Also with our basketball teams, or our athletics, you go to the basketball games and the baseball games, they were pretty good this year, and the games are free. And you look into the stands and nobody's there. Why is that? There's no sense of culture. I believe with a sense of culture, everybody comes together, all colleges.
Well, actually, going back to what Crinston said, then yes, it is very, very important to develop, you know, some sort of common ground, whether it's based on culture or whether it's based on your own ideas, because, you know, in my own personal opinion, you know, everyone has the potential for cooperation, and, you know, especially here in SGA, you know, we promote cooperation on so many levels that, you know, it's not just about what makes us, you know, productive. It's not what makes us, you know, able to progress. It's what is able to invite more people to join us, because with our sense of teamwork, that's what invites people to come in. I mean, that's why I came to SGA in the first place, because I was invited by the level of teamwork.
Top priority for students is definitely, once you get into college, everyone thinks that college is just something that you can put on your resume, like, oh, you went to FSU, you went to UF, and automatically they raise their standards. well, why should anyone look down upon PBSC? PBSC is the same caliber, and the only difference is the amount of students that are coming out and are proud of where they've been. If you can't look at someone and say, I went to PBSC, and you're empowered by what you're saying, then they're not going to believe you. They're going to think that's the same sense of insecurity, and you're insecure and you're regretful on what you did and where you went to. So definitely building yourself up, creating events and something that students can walk away with, not only just like, oh, I went and did this event, but they're walking away with a different, they walk out different than they came in. And giving them a reason to be a part of it.
All right, this is gonna be our last question, and then we're gonna have our rebuttal. All right, Spencer, what would make you a good president?
I'm not sure I understand the question.
Basically,
Like what is it about me that I think would make me a good
Yeah.
president?
basically.
My work ethic. I would pretty much, you know, I've always thought of myself as a dignified, bona fide leader in many ways because, I mean, as I said before, I always think about, you know, the benefits and the needs of other people before I think about myself. I mean, what's the best way to put this? One thing that I've noticed about some of our national leaders nowadays is that they always do what's best for their party instead of what's best for their country. But you know, not me. I mean, I don't take sides with anybody. I decide what's best for the whole unit. I think about what's best for everybody.
Alexa?
Definitely the fact that, you know, I take leadership seriously. It's not just something that I want to put on my resume, but it's something that I want to tell everyone about, that it's not something that is just petty to me. Like, I work hard. I'm a part of a leadership summit up in Orlando. I'm a part of cell ministry at my church. I'm Hope Ministries. There's all these things that I do just so I can say, you know, I'm a leader, and this is why I not even deserve this, but this is why I want to do this. Another thing is I'm a servant to everyone. I'm selfless. I don't like empowering myself before I empower other people. Doing things for other people and being a servant is what gets you this position at Palm Beach State. If you're looking for selfish ambitions, then you're not going to deserve anything.
Definitely my passion. I'm not doing this for no credit. I'm not doing this for awards. I'm not doing this to get my name out there. I'm doing this because I actually really want to help people. I'm here for students. I'm here to represent the students. I'm ready to take the reins and lead, just based off of what I did last year in the E-Board, or this year in the E-Board. I'm just passionate about, I really want to do this. Also, just my ambition. My brother was a part of student government a couple of years ago, so I know the tradition. I know where student government has came from and where it can be. Right now, we're awarded so many things that they weren't awarded, and we have not taken advantage of them. And I want to take advantage of them because we could be so much more, not only as student government, not only as clubs in the ICC, but as a college in a whole. So.
Well, that's our question part of it. So we're gonna have our rebuttal. So it's like, you know, you guys question each other, or probably questions that we just stated. So,
You have 30 seconds to respond.
yeah. So you can start. You know.
I don't really have any questions for anybody. So if y'all have questions for me, I can go ahead and ask you.
Honestly, I don't have any questions either.
Okay, well, my first question is, what have you noticed that students need on campus?
To me, what I notice that students need, it's numerous things out there. Like, I was talking to some people, they feel like we should have a call box. Because sometimes when people are coming out of class, their phones might be dead, or they might not know the numbers to security. So they want to go out and be able to look at the polls and be like, oh, my car needs to jump. Let me go to the call box and call. Also, something that students need, they need a way to find out about things other than just emails and posters that people don't really look at.
For me, I mean, one thing that most students have complained to me about, of course, is the website, is the Palm Beach State website. I think that that's definitely something that Palm Beach State College could improve on to make to finding out certain events and, finding out like registration, times to withdraw, that, other things that concern college life are going on. I think that we can make the website a little bit more navigable.
You guys have any other questions for each other? Any questions I'd like to?
I mean, I was enjoying the questions from the people in the audience. If they want to ask some more questions, like stand up and just point who you want to ask. I mean, I'm down for it if we have time. So y'all don't have any questions at all?
Alright. It's gonna be like the end of this because we have some announcements and if you guys have videos or codes or whatever you guys want to add on. So nothing. I'm on it.
There's some more hot questions on those cards. We'd love to ask you those questions that's on the card.
If they are willing to access.
Or I can read my questions off the card right to you then.
What we can do is we can put the questions on Facebook. And the candidates, if you would answer them.
I'll set that up.
Yeah. All right, so we'll put all the questions on Facebook and if the candidates would answer them.